Right, yeah, I should probably brief you in some way, shape or form. I'm just going to ask you some questions.
Okay.
And don't be scared. Cause it's
Why would I be scared?
Because I'm terrifying and really intimidating.
Yeah,
because I'm the David Frost of YouTube.
I think David Frost is.
Never mind then. This is Roland West, and my name is Jazza. Hello there. I sat down with Roland to talk about the fact that he has recently come out as gender fluid. I wanted to have a conversation with him about what it was like to be gender fluid, how he came to that decision to identify himself as such, and what it was kind of like in his shoes, quite literally, because at the end of this video I try on heels. This video is very much long form, so it'd be good to kind of put this on in the background and have a little listen to what we have a talk about. It's very similar to a series of videos that my friend Lena Lorms has been doing on her channel Kiss My Frog, where she does deep, meaningful chats with Lena, and she's talked to many people, including me, about what it's like to be a certain kind of human. So once you've watched this video, go and check her out. Let's continue with the discussion I had with Roland, shall we? Very good.
Oh, okay.
This is nice.
It is, it always doesn't go.
Lovely. You came out as gender fluid.
Yep.
Like, was it just before Christmas?
Yeah,
I think it was just before Christmas. Yeah. What does that mean specifically to you? Because that's going to mean a lot of different things.
Yeah, so it's very like complex. Basically, I don't always feel one gender in specific, so I float between male, genderqueer, and non-binary, and I sort of float between them. Like, sometimes I just want to be a bloke, and sometimes I sort of just like
Lads.
Yeah, lads.
Yeah.
I don't know what this is. It's like dollar. But like, and then other days I just wake up and like, I don't feel like anything today. Like, it's a weird feeling because I never knew what to call it, and I never really had some sort of definition of what it was for myself because I was confused about it this whole time. And so when you just have to, it just sort of changes. Like, sometimes they're like, I want to be your girlie today. It's like I just sort of.
What is it that was it something that you identified like really early on? Is this something that you've always kind of?
I've definitely pushed it away for a long time because I was so confused, and I was always back where I used to live in Devon. It was the like, it's very sort of stereotypical, like, man does this, a female does that. That's basically what it is. So for me, it was sort of like, I was kind of like, oh, does this mean I want to be this, or is it just an expression? Is it my expression trying to come out?
Was there ever kind of like, because I know that you talk about being quite scared. What was it that you scared about, like, experimenting with your gender? So you talk about like when you first or like bought your own pair of heels and like it's like, oh, enjoy. What were you specifically, or have you had a chance to think about what it was that you were scared about before you actually like embraced that kind of gender expression?
Yeah, well, the thing for me, it's funny to think, because I am such a confident person in who I am. It's not like, you know, obviously I was out for gay for such a long time, and it was always something I was happy with. Because I was out for so long, like, I was always a very confident person. And I hate the fact that I'm going to say this, but a lot of it was, for me, is I thought I'd be less attractive to people, or less desirable to like another partner, because like a partner would think, because I'm already quite eccentric anyway. Like,
No, you've always seemed so reserved.
If I start going out like wearing a lot more makeup and doing heels and stuff, I'd be less desirable for people, and that's like I had to kind of go off like, actually, I don't really care about that anymore.
Is it now something that you've kind of shelved and thought, well, if somebody doesn't like me in heels, then they're probably gonna not like me 24/7?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's like part of me. Was it just like desirability of others, or was it kind of persecution?
No, it was definitely like just even. Again, I think I don't really care what people think about me, but there was the gay thing, being flamboyant, and then there was dressing like more androgynous, full makeup, all again, and going out in public as well, and just seeing public's reaction to you. Because I remember the first time I went out, I tried to ignore everyone, but like I said to everyone when I came home, did people look and stuff? And like people were like, there's people staring all the time, and kids were like, what's this? Like,
so you come across, in terms of like the way you present yourself, as very like extreme already. You love a piercing, you've got like bright contact lenses. Is there kind of like a difference between the kind of, can I call it body modification?
Yeah.
The kind of body mods that you do, and then when you kind of wear a high heel or something, or when you go out in full makeup? Is there a difference between you experimenting with your body in general and you experimenting with just kind of like your gender?
Well, yeah, because I think the reason I identify gender fluid is because that's more of a feeling inside, and this is sort of how I show the feeling I have inside. But obviously to a lot of people, just getting piercings is like a normal thing.
Yeah,
like they're completely different things, like from expression to
But
actual...
do you feel getting stared at? Do you feel like people notice that particular thing about you?
Because, again, I sort of... Because I was already used to people looking at me about piercing things, because obviously I do... Yeah. Very extreme. Yeah. Like, I notice the difference when I'm out in like more like stuff like that. Yeah, I do. Like, it definitely is a different feeling because it's like, wow, he's not just someone who likes to accentuate. I think a lot of people get really confused as well because I look like a man, I can't change that unless I have surgery, like which I'm not gonna do. But I always look like a man, so it's really difficult for me to sort of show outside how I feel inside because I do look like a man, and people always think to be in like a non-cis feeling or anything you have to look androgynous or you have to look like a mix and stuff, but that's not all that's not everything of who I am. I can't help the fact that I always look like a man, so a lot of the time, again, maybe this goes back to feeling other people, I found it difficult because it was like people won't take me seriously or won't believe me because I look this way. The comments on my video when I first came out, people were like, aren't you just this? Aren't you just this? Are you sure you're right? And it's like, I can't, how am I supposed to?
It's like, I have thought about this quite a lot.
Like,
and I've decided to make a video and make it for all of you guys. I've probably thought about this a bit more than you have.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So it's like, again, so I think that is probably why I feel so, maybe it's not even them looking at me because of that. Maybe it's just because I'm feeling more sort of like anxious when I go out now. Yeah. I notice it more, and that's obviously how it is. It isn't necessarily because they're looking at me because I'm in heels or because I've got makeup on or anything. I think I'm just noticing it more now. I think that's pretty much all it is.
So what do you think is the biggest like misconception that people have had when you came out as gender fluid? What is it that people have kind of like been like, oh, that means that blah 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 blah, and they've been wrong? What's the biggest thing for you?
So I think it's just because people don't understand anything, like not understand anything, but they don't. Gender fluidity is so much more complex than just being genderqueer, or like obviously just because people don't understand that I'm not one thing all the time. And so when I come out to people and tell them that I don't identify as cis, they're like, oh, so you're this or you're this, and it's like, no, actually I'm this, this and this, like I don't. And so people don't like the fact that things change, and they're like, people just like to think, oh, it's this and this and that.
They love the idea of a pigeonhole.
Yeah, exactly. You've got
like, oh, you're like a thing.
Yeah.
And luckily, that works for the majority of the population.
Yeah.
Like being cis, being straight, being like white or whatever. Those pigeonholes work really well. But then some people like you wake up in the morning and are like,
yeah, I feel like this today. I feel like this. Like, So
I'm almost kind of jealous actually. No, I feel like dressing like an old fisherman again today.
It can be fun, and I'm still relatively new in this world of being able to express myself the way I want to. So, yeah, I think people just don't like the fact that it's confusing and they don't understand completely. But which is fine. I don't mind if you like. You can be confused. It's perfectly fine. But then don't disregard my feelings and say you're not this because I don't like agree with your idea of what this is.
Yeah.
Like, again, when we say gender fluidity means so many different things to different people.
Yeah.
Like, just because you think this way does not mean the other person is wrong. Like,
how has kind of like the public reacted, or people outside of YouTube, because we're really lucky in like our little corner of the internet of how generally accepting the YouTube community is of people who are non-binary, non-cis, etc, etc. How has kind of like the wider world kind of approached that and reacted to you coming out in this way?
The funny thing is I've never told any of my family. That was the only way a lot of them found out, just through that video. And I think like,
how have they reacted, if you don't mind me asking?
My sister's been my biggest cheerleader in my entire life. She's the first person I came out to. She's like, she's always been there for me, so I've been very lucky to have that. And for me, having that back then really helped me be who I am now. So my sister's always been like, yay! Like, for Christmas, she wanted to do a game by Christmas, so she came over here, like, everything was just rainbowed out, it was so much
amazing, beautiful.
But most of my other family, like, they're fine with it, but I just don't think they get it. Like, they just think, oh, well, it's just being crazy again. Like, like, none of the other people really understand, although there's nothing negative. Nothing negative, I think.
Is there like, just a lack of understanding of the word, because it's not something that is in day-to-day usage in like our language.
Yeah,
right?
it's just the sort of like, okay. So I think a lot of them just think it just means I like to dress feminine, like that. They don't realise that it's actually something I feel inside. Like I don't think they've connected the feeling of I'm not cis. Again, it's one of those things that's really hard
to explain,
or to really get out that I don't feel like a man all the time. Like regardless of how I look, how I dress or whatever, like I try to express, like I try to show it a bit more when I'm in certain modes or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, it's just something inside of me that just says, you're not always this, you're not always that. Like this, it's really confusing, but it's definitely a feeling inside.
And it must be confused. So how many, I'm sure that there isn't like a concrete answer to this, but how many kind of other identities did you kind of try with? Because you have this feeling inside, and there's kind of like a selection of things that you could possibly be.
Yeah.
Did you try any of the other options on for size?
Well, I always thought maybe I was genderqueer to start with, because obviously it's sort of like a mix between male and female, like it's a blend. But then I say to myself, well, I don't always feel because again, that's what I started off. But like, I don't always feel like that, because again, sometimes I do wake up and I'm like, I just want to be a bloke. Like, I want to, exactly. That. Funny thing is, looking back when I was a child now, things make more sense, because when I was a kid, I always wanted to be a girl, but I didn't want to transition into a girl because I didn't understand what that was. But I always liked to wear my sister's clothes, always make makeup, like, I would always be like, girls better than boys. I'd always be like the girl, like Spice Girls. Like, and then,
which one were you? Which Spice Girl were you?
I was baby.
Oh, okay. I was posh. Just so you know.
Things changed now.
Yeah.
No, but like, thinking about it when I grew up, that was sort of just harmless fun, like I was just the gay boy.
Yeah.
But actually looking back at it now and accepting this part of me, I think that was just a really early representation of something that maybe was inside me that I didn't really explore that much, because when you get older and you go to school, it's like, boys are here, girls here. Everything's separated, like, so.
Do you think that people kind of putting you up as like an example of somebody who is like becoming becoming like an example, is that like something that you're willing to take on? You mentioned in your video that
I'm more than happy to take that sort of like gender fluid representation of people, because I don't know that many gender fluid people on YouTube. I know a lot of gender queer and sort of non-binary people, but I haven't really seen that many gender fluid people. But I need to look probably more anyway. But I'm more than happy for people to look up me, and hopefully I can help some people accept that you don't have to look like this to identify as this. You don't have to, just because I look like a man doesn't mean I have to identify as cis male. And so I hate there's this sort of feeling of if you're not cis, you have to look a mix. You have to look this, or people won't take you seriously. So I want to show people that you don't have to be that. You can literally look however you want, but you don't have to identify with what society says you look like, if that makes any sense. So
how much of it is, because I feel like talking to you, there is like this conflict between like appearance and what you look like and what you're feeling inside. And is that kind of like difference between the external feeling and the internal feeling, is that why gender fluid is probably the best label for you, in your opinion?
Yeah, because I mean, people do get confused with gender expression and gender identity. And I use my gender expression to help my gender identity because people don't understand.
Right, got it.
So when my first video I probably should have like worded it better in it, because I did just talk about expression, but I should have said in the video that I use this expression to show my feelings inside. There's no other way of me really showing you how I feel. And to some people though, their gender expression, like a lot of girls will wear like lots of makeup because it makes them feel more like womanly, and men obviously like to go to the gym and all that kind of stuff because it makes them feel more like a man. And to some people that's just expression, but to other people that is how they show themselves. And that's with me.
That's how they're feeling inside. They want to feel like or ooh.
Exactly.
That was me doing gender expression.
It was.
You're there. You're very well.
I'm very into it, Jazza. But like that is the only way. Again, that is the only way I can let it come out. And so, to some people, yes, that gender expression, gender identity are completely different things. But to other people, that's how they express their actual gender. So it's a feeling inside, and how else am I supposed to get it out?
If there are any young people kind of, because you said you're very happy being a role model, if there are any young people who are kind of feeling this confusion between how they feel inside and how they're expressing themselves externally, do you have any advice for them?
Just do it. Just do whatever you want to do. Like, the way I see it is like, gender is so confusing, so spectrumish. Like, if you're confused, if you're not understanding how you feel inside, just roll with that and just literally go out there and experiment as much as you possibly want, because the only way you'll figure it out is until you experiment, until you actually explore these other options. Because if you sit there and go, am I this, but I'm too scared to do, like I was for such a long time, like you'll never know, like you will never know how you properly want to be or who you identify with or what you identify as. And so just go out and explore, and it's so much fun. Like, exploring your gender is so fun. Like, I never thought it was this fun just to suddenly be like, I want to make myself look like this and wear this and do this. Like, it is so much fun not to fit into one box.
You know what? It's very different for me, obviously, because I'm a cis man and I look like a man. But I felt almost exactly the same way with the, you know what, I'm gonna get a fucking top knot.
Exactly.
And you know what, I'm gonna grow a beard and see what happens. And isn't it exciting what I look like now? And I think that kind of message of, this is where we turn to the camera and address the audience. Hi. That kind of like message of being able to express yourself in whatever way you want. And be excited with the, oh look, I'm a bit different now. Yeah. Isn't that cool? Like, do that. That's fun. And whether that happens through like performance, or whether that happens in behind closed doors, or whether that happens like with your mates.
And the thing is, it is the best way to discover who you want to be. Don't sit there and just think, I can't do this because society thinks I shouldn't do it. Yeah. Like, that is the worst way to do it, because you'll just be an unhappy person.
Yeah, and also it's okay to not be into experimenting with your gender. People try and put makeup on me all the time. I'm just not into it.
Any amount of time, bitch. No, exactly. Like, as long as you're happy, like if you're happy with, you know, as you said, just like not experimenting, actually like being cis male and everything, like that's perfectly fine. And if you identify that as perfectly fine, but like if you are wanting to experiment, just do it. Screw what people think about you. Like, really, it's not worth it. Really not worth it. Not worth it whatsoever.
I love you. Oh, I love you. Do you want to go over to Roland's channel and check out his channel? He does loads of really interesting stuff.
Thank you.
I liked it. And he's also really like entertaining and shit. I'm really terrible at like end cards.
Come subscribe to me, bitches.
Yeah, there you go. Also subscribe to this channel because I'm amazing.
And I love Jazza. Thanks for having me on.
No, it's my pleasure. I really wanted to like talk to you about it.
And we've known each other for a long time. And it's like we haven't like
for ages. Yeah, I know, right? It's because I love a chin wag. It's great.
Ooh.
Right, let's turn this. How have you made that sound dirty? Chin wag. Oh, you dirty bitch.
Jazz is trying on my heels. Come on, bitch, stand up. You can do it. Come on, you can do it.
Oh my god, this is a...
Yes, mama, yes.
I felt like I was going to...
Go on, run down the hallway. Go on, you can do it.
Oh my god, this is easy.
See, it's not that bad, is it? It's hard to stop though, once you start running. That's right, strut, yes.
I feel like Beyonce.
Beyonce, oh yeah. Beyonce with a beard. That's the only thing.
Beyonce with a beard.
Beyonce beard, yeah.
There we go, perfect. Oh my god, this is amazing. I don't want to take them off.
Don't.
These are mine.